Hey there. This is just sort of a turn on the camera and go video, so please don't expect anything too polished, but something just occurred to me recently, and it might be behind the curve on this. Perhaps some of you are well aware of this, but I think Remington Knives is kaput again in their history. So, Remington hasn't really made their own knives since 1940. They made knives for a 20-year period between the Great World Wars, 1920 to 1940, and then they went out of business. But in 1982, the name came back as Remington Firearms licensed Remington Cutlery to other cutlers to make knives. It started with the bullet knife reproductions made by Camillus, I think in 1982. They made them for a number of years. Then Baron Son made them for a number of years. And then most recently, Buck Knives had the official license for Remington Cutlery, and we're producing bullet knives and other knives under the Remington brand. But with Remington's bankruptcy last year, and by the way, how you bankrupt a 200-plus-year-old, iconic, beloved American company with great product twice in 3 years, when everybody and their grandmother is buying all the guns and knives they can get their hands on, is beyond me. But somehow Remington Outdoors managed to bankrupt themselves in 2018. They came out of bankruptcy and went back in last year. And in September, after not being able to find a buyer, one single buyer to buy the company, they auctioned off the company in 7 different pieces to 7 different buyers. I don't have all that information, but I think like Vista Outdoor was one of the big buyers that bought their ammo. CR Bullets bought another part of their ammo business. Ruger bought Marlin firearms from them. Some other company bought the rest of the firearms, and on and on. But from what I can tell, no one picked up the cutlery line. And as I mentioned, Buck Knives was the official producer, licensee of Remington Knives for the last few years. And they had a website, remingtoncutlery.com. And it was just kind of it was its own website, but it was kind of tied into Buck's website. If you go there now, this is what you get. If you use DuckDuckGo as your browser. And if you go to remington.com, this is what you get. This is Vista Outdoors' new website for their ammo and their gear. And if you look through there and look at the gear and everything, you find no knives. If you do a search for cutlery, nothing. If you do a search for knives, nothing. If you do a search for bullet knives, nothing. So, and as we sit here, I guess, right now, there are no more Remington knives. So, kind of interesting. I think it was time they put the nail in the coffin, or the stake in the heart of the bullet knives. It was really getting quite ridiculous. There were only 11 original bullet knife patterns, with a couple of them with a couple different cover treatments. So maybe 13 in all that you could truly reproduce. And they've been doing these since 1982, so they've been making bullet knives that never existed. All kinds of crazy things. In the last 3 years, Buck put out some fine bullet knives. 2018, I believe, it was the Mustang Bay bullet. It was based on their 500 Duke series. In 2019, they put out one based on the 532 Bucklock. And then last year, 2020, the bullet knife was based on their 3-bladed Stockman. They're American-made Stockman. They do actually have a Chinese-made one, and that caused some confusion. People thought, oh, Remington knives are now being made in China. Remington bullet knives have always been made in the U.S. Now, some of their other knives that they've branded have been made in China and overseas, but all the bullet knives were always made in the U.S. So that was Buck's 3-bladed Stockman, made in the U.S. But there was never a Stockman bullet knife. Anyway, interesting knife, but I guess that's the last bullet knife. And I think people are aware of that, or kind of onto that, because they have been totally snatched up online. I went to look for one. Used to be you could find them all over the place on sale. They are gone. So anyway, that could be the last bullet knife. I don't really know if I have anything else to say on this. Probably the name will be picked back up by someone. Let's hope it's not Smoky Mountain Knife Works, just with another, line of Chinese knives. We just don't really need that. But anyway, maybe they could come out with a new edition of this book and call it Remington Knives Past and Past. Okay, so this is Wednesday, and I believe that makes tomorrow Thursday, if the sun rises. And you know what that means. Throwback Thursday. But anyway, tomorrow's Throwback Thursday is a little bit special because there's going to be some actionable, time-sensitive information there that you might be interested in. So you might want to take a look at it. It might be an opportunity for you. Thanks for watching, and have fun collecting.